Coming up, a Fargo man is found not guilty on several charges, including murder in connection to a domestic disturbance. A school board member once censured by her colleagues is now running for higher office. And state lawmakers push for funding to fight bird flu. Hello, and thanks for joining us for the Nightly Review. I'm Tom Tucker. We begin with a look at tonight's headlines. Then, in a closer look, how U.S. Senator Kevin Cramer is questioning top U.S. military leaders on why they think addressing climate change should be a military objective. And in tonight's one-on-one conversation, an update on the effort to legalize sports betting in Minnesota. But first, Fargo School Board member Jennifer Benson today announced her candidacy for Fargo City Commission. Benson has been on the Fargo School Board since 2014. She joins a crowded race for 2 open commission seats. Other candidates include incumbent Deputy Mayor Dave Pepcorn, former North Dakota House Representative Al Carlson, and 10 other candidates. Several people were detained by police in Fargo when officers executed a high-risk search warrant, but only one person was arrested. The knock and announce warrant was served Thursday night in the 2500 block of 14th Street South. 41-year-old Roberto Sandoval was arrested on drug charges, including possession of methamphetamine with intent to sell. We're told police used flashbangs when serving the warrant. Police say no one was injured. Fargo resident Cody Plumlee has been found not guilty on several charges, including murder, in connection with his role in a domestic disturbance. Police responded in December 2020 to the incident, where a witness said Plumlee shoved his girlfriend, Kirsten Knaus, down a flight of stairs after a fight. Knaus was knocked unconscious and later died after being pulled off life support. Documents say Plumlee admitted to pushing Knaus because she hit him over the head with a frying pan. He was found guilty of theft of property, false information to law enforcement officers, and reckless driving. Representatives working for BitZero and Shark Tank star Kevin O'Leary are planning to soon visit North Dakota to explore the possibility of starting up a business in the cryptocurrency space. As I reported yesterday, the investment group is talking with state officials about investing somewhere between $2 and $3 billion. They're talking about using hydroelectricity in the state and the colder climate for more cost-efficient Bitcoin mining. City officials in West Fargo are working on a unique way to deliver city news to citizens.
We're working on building that app out, and we're actually testing it internally right now and are very close to getting it launched and getting it out to our residents.
West Fargo Communications Director Melissa Richards says the app will be able to deliver information on things like utility changes, holiday event news, and similar items. Richards says residents should be able to download the app by the end of April. North Dakota's top lawmakers are supporting efforts to put restrictions on Russia because of its military action in Ukraine. U.S. Senators John Hoeven and Kevin Cramer, along with Congressman Kelly Armstrong, voted this week in favor of a bill to ban Russian oil imports and to suspend normal trade relations with Russia and Belarus. The Biden administration is also looking to raise tariffs on imports such as steel and aluminum products. A North Dakota senior executive with an oil services company is facing 3 years in prison in connection with a fraud scheme. The U.S. Department of Justice says Joseph Kostelecki was the executive vice president of Poseidon Concepts Corporation when he engaged in a scheme to fraudulently inflate the company's reported revenue. The scheme led to shareholder losses of more than $860 million. Minnesota lawmakers are advancing legislation to provide emergency funding for a response to bird flu in the state. The $1 million allocation for testing supplies and urgent needs for farmers passed the House and Senate unanimously this week. Governor Walz says he'll sign the measure when it hits his desk. Avian flu has been found in flocks in 12 counties, affecting more than 1 million birds. Minnesota is the nation's leading poultry producer. Minnesota Congresswoman Angie Craig says she's tested positive for COVID-19. The Democrat announced her test results yesterday, only days after a White House gathering. Tuesday, Craig and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi attended the signing of an executive order making changes to the Affordable Care Act with Vice President Kamala Harris, former President Barack Obama, Minnesota Senator Amy Klobuchar, and others. Pelosi tested positive on Wednesday. In sports tonight, the Minnesota Twins today celebrated opening day in Minneapolis, hosting the Seattle Mariners at Target Field. With hope springing eternal, the Twins are hoping to improve upon last season's fifth-place finish in the division. They finished last year with 73 wins and 89 losses. Today's festivities included a flyover from a World War II plane and fireworks. In a closer look tonight, U.S. Senator Kevin Cramer is questioning top U.S. military leaders about the Biden administration's push to incorporate climate change into the mission of the U.S. military. Thursday, during a hearing of the Senate Armed Services Committee, Cramer asked Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin if China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea are slowed in developing their military over climate change concerns. Cramer also asked Austin if he knew if those countries have plans for their militaries to reach net zero carbon emissions, as does the U.S.
Senator, I've asked you for $773 billion to support the capabilities that we think we need, and I certainly appreciate what you've done for us in the past. But I think there's also things that we can and should be doing to address the climate issue as well. It affects our installations. It causes problems that cause mass migration and other things in the areas that we operate in.
Later during the hearing, Cramer asked Joint Chiefs of Staff General Mark Milley if he believes climate change is a military objective the Department of Defense should be focused on tackling.
It's a departmental objective for the military, though. For the uniformed military, it is a condition under which we will operate, and it's something that we have to take into consideration in the conduct of our operations, for sure. Because if you look at Lake Chad, is just one example. You look at a picture in 1950 and look at Lake Chad and look at it today. Well, the reason that there's a lot of instability in that particular region is because there's no water and there's a lot of resource struggles going on. So climate change has an impact on military operations, to be sure.
Senator Cramer called for a stronger response to Russia's military action against Ukraine and what he called targeted violence against civilians. Time now to take a look at the forecast for tonight and tomorrow. Meteorologist Justin Storm has the details from the Skywatch Weather Center.
Thanks, Tom. As we head through the rest of this evening, skies will remain mostly clear as well throughout tonight. The wind will become 5 to 15 miles per hour, and temperatures will drop to the mid and lower 20s. On Saturday, we rebound back up close to 50 degrees. We'll have partly cloudy skies in the afternoon with south-southeast wind around 10 to 25 miles per hour, and then a chance for scattered rain and snow showers for your Sunday with highs near 40.
It could happen to you or someone you love. One moment, one diagnosis can change everything. Thankfully, there's a program that helps caring people uplift families through a crisis. Lend a Hand Up, raising financial help and hope through community benefits and online campaigns. A program that boosts generosity so gifts go further. Lend a Hand Up helps you help your neighbors. Learn more and give at lendahandup.org.
Welcome back to the Nightly Review. In tonight's one-on-one conversation, the topic is the push to legalize sports betting in Minnesota. The bill that would make it happen is moving through committees at the state capitol. My guest tonight is the lawmaker sponsoring the bill, State Representative Zach Stevenson.
Back in 2018, the United States Supreme Court struck down a law that limited sports betting to just two states, Nevada and New Jersey. And in the intervening 3 years, 30-some states, including every single state that touches Minnesota, has legalized sports betting. I think that Minnesotans should have the same opportunity that people in Wisconsin and Iowa and the Dakotas and even Canada have to safely and legally wager on sports. The big thing I always point out is that people are already wagering on sports in Minnesota. They're just doing it through shady websites and digital workarounds, which means they have no access to consumer protections. There's no protections for problem gamers. There's no regulation. There's no tax revenue. It's entirely off the books. So we need to correct that so that Minnesotans can safely and legally wager on sports, just like all of our neighbors can.
So do I understand correctly that all these betting operations would be entirely under the purview and operation of Native American tribes and their casinos?
So Minnesota has a long history of Indian gaming. We authorized it for the first time 40 years ago. The tribes are really the subject matter experts when it comes to gaming in Minnesota. They have done it longer and more successfully than anyone else at a higher level. Indian gaming is the most highly regulated gaming in the world. When you go into a tribal casino and place a bet in a slot machine or at the blackjack table, if you win, you can have every confidence that you're going to get your money back. And that's the same type of experience we want for people in sports wagering. So it makes sense as we're making this significant change in our gaming laws to look to the most experienced subject matter experts in the state, which is the tribes. So what my bill does is it allows the tribes to operate sports betting lounges at their casinos around the state and allows them to partner with operating companies. You've probably heard the names of some of them: FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars, MGM, but they could partner with those companies to bring mobile sports betting to Minnesota.
Is there any estimate in terms of how much revenue this could bring to tribes? And do I also understand correctly that this would bring significant tax revenue to the state as well?
Well, the thing you have to understand about sports betting is it's a high volume, low margin business. So I think the estimates in terms of how much money will be wagered in Minnesota is very large. We're talking, maybe $1 billion, maybe $2 billion. But the amount of money that's held back and as profit under those wagers is like 5%. That's still a lot of money, right? 5% of $1 billion is, that's $50 million. That's not jump change. But when you factor in the partnership that the tribes will have with those operating companies, MGM and DraftKings, the taxes that they would pay, everything else, it's not as large as I think a lot of people maybe imagine it would be. Similarly for the state, my bill sets the tax at 10% of that holdback of that profit. Okay. So we are talking, again, it's millions of dollars. It's real money, but this is not something. The state right now has a $9 billion budget surplus overall, right? This would be very small compared to that.
And I'd like to thank Minnesota State Representative Zach Stevenson for joining me for tonight's one-on-one conversation. The Minnesota sports betting bill is now headed to the Ways and Means Committee. Stevenson says the bill is not about making money for the state, but to get rid of the black market for betting. Well, that will do it for this Friday night, April 8th, 2022. I'm Tom Tucker. Thanks for watching the Nightly Review. Have a great weekend.